Well, here we are back working on the Coronet, and honestly, I don't even remember where we left off. So I'm gonna do a quick little recap of what has led up to this point and what we've encountered in the last week or so. So, for those of you that don't know, this is our 1968 Coronet. Originally just a 318 car, but it's definitely not a 318 anymore. So, we put this engine in it. It is a 1977, I believe, 440, all stock. Nothing's been done to it other than I put a new timing chain in it, 4 degrees advance, and it has headers on it. And the 750 carburetor as opposed to, whatever thermo quad or Carter carburetor would have been on it. So that's an upgrade as well. Overall, very, very mild, stock intake, stock, heads, stock, everything. Except for headers, a 4 degrees advanced timing chain set, and a carburetor. So, that being said, this is not going to make a ton of power, but it should make a very nice, torquey, low-end driver. So, this thing has been a lot of trial and error. I've had to screw with the wiring. I've had to screw with a bunch of different stuff on it. But the only thing that's holding us up right now from getting in it, driving it forward and backwards, testing everything out, and taking it for a drive is the brakes. And that's kind of to be expected, but I was hoping it'd be a little easier going than this. We went through, I pulled all 4 drums off. We put new shoes, new wheel cylinders, and some new miscellaneous hardware where needed in there. And then we went to bleed the brakes. And they weren't bleeding. The front driver's side was getting fluid out, and that side seems to be okay. But the other 3, no fluid, no air, no nothing. So I was like, okay, crap, this is not good. So I replaced the master cylinder. As you guys can see, nice new shiny master cylinder. That didn't work either. I'm happy to have a new one on there. Anybody that knows what the process is to replace a master cylinder in the car of a B-body knows how much fun that was. Yeah, you can really tell I'm laying on the sarcasm there. Not fun at all. 10 out of 10 would not recommend. But anyways, it's done. It's good. I'm glad that it's on, but still not fun. So that leads us to the last possible culprit. The rubber lines have swelled internally, which that happens. 50 plus year old original rubber lines, yeah, not gonna work. So I figured they probably would do this, but I've had luck in the past where they haven't been an issue, so I figured, I'll take the gamble, I'll see what happens. Well, they're bad. So where the lines connect, where the hard line connects to the rubber line, it is very hard to get that off without breaking the hard line, which on this side, I'll just show you guys quick here. I broke the hard line right there. So I got new rubber lines and thankfully went through the stash O parts and I have a hard line. So if I had to guess, odds are same thing's probably going to happen here. I probably have that hard line, but if I can avoid replacing that, I'd like to, but at this point it's not looking good. So that's where we're at on that. Same thing with the rear. There's a rubber brake line that comes down in the center of the axle, and that's the one I'm worried about more than the front ones, because if I break that one, the whole line that comes from up here at the junction box down there all the way back has to be replaced, which again, I might have that piece in our stash of parts, but I'm not sure. So not ideal. But since you guys last seen it, I have alternator, I've got the pulleys all set up, I've got the power steering on, but it's not, what's the word? Doesn't have a belt on it yet, but I've got the belt on the alternator. It seems to be working. I've got to plug these hoses on the water pump and this hole, or I might even put a temperature gauge in. I don't know yet. Definitely need to work on my spark plug routing. Definitely need to work on some general cleanup going on here. And this big red wire running from the terminal over there to the ground here, that's the neutral safety switch. If you ground it out, it works just fine, but you lose the, safety aspect of it. But I don't have a neutral safety switch wiring right now, so that's my temporary solution to make the key work, which we're going to do right now. I have the carburetor filled up with gas. It is plumbed with a new tank from the back all the way up here. I don't have any gas in the tank, so I filled the bowl. So we'll see how it runs. I have run this a little bit, and there's no water in the radiator, so it's not going to run long. But it should work pretty good. I screwed around with a bunch of different adjustments here. Got it running decent with a different carburetor. I've not really run it for more than a couple seconds with this one. I had a vacuum leak in the back, which I've plugged now, so I don't know. We'll turn the key and see what happens, I suppose. So that is a pretty nice feature of this car, is all the wiring seems to be intact for the most part. So a little fire there. Okay, let's try to give it a little gas. So, needless to say, we need to make some carburetor adjustments. But open headers, not a lot to quiet it down. I did pick up some exhaust pipe at a swap meet I went to recently. But that being said, it's loud. I don't know how well the camera picks that up, or if the camera just kind of muted that out, but it runs pretty good. Carburetor needs adjustments, I know that now. But it should work all right. I plugged a vacuum leak. I might have another vacuum leak. I don't know. So we'll have to just see how it runs and adjusts over time. Might even be a little bit flooded. I know I got a little bit of gas down the barrels when I was putting some gas in the bowl in the front there in the vent tube. But I don't know. We'll give it one more shot here. That's getting plenty of gas. I can hear it. So let's give it one more shot, see if I can get it to idle for more than a couple seconds. But again, it needs adjustments. Also probably needs some timing adjustment too. Well, transmission's working. Blew the drum off, so it was in neutral, so that's a good sign. Yeah, this side was moving too. Also, what do you guys think of these wheels? We picked these up at a swap meet too. They're kind of cool. They're 15x8 injector wheels. So, yeah, I don't know. Let me make sure I was in, in neutral here. Yes, I was. Park. We'll just try it in park here quick. Also, I don't know why the back lights are on for some reason. I don't really know why that... Okay, now they're off. Making myself look insane here. But, one more shot. Needs some work, but it runs. Yeah, my oil light is on. Yeah, I don't even have the sensor hooked up, so that's actually kind of cool that works. And that's the other thing. The temperature gauge, I don't know if it works. I haven't ran it long enough, but the alternator gauge seemed to work, and I hope the gas gauge works. But it's an old Mopar. Gas gauge is probably pretty unlikely to work, but we can cross our fingers and hope. So that's about what we got going on here now. That's really encouraging that even running in neutral did get the rear axle moving and got those drums moving. That's really a good sign and pretty encouraging, because that's the only kind of unknown on this car is We know the engine runs because you just heard it, but the guy I got it from said it runs, and the guy I got it from says that the transmission works too, but I don't know that he ever saw it work. So again, good sign. You know, didn't really want the drum falling on the ground, but you know, it works. So hopefully that all works out. So the next steps are fix that brake line. Hopefully I can get the back brake line fixed, but I don't know. I'm not super concerned about the back right now. The front is about 75-80% of your braking, so that's first priority. The back we will get to when we get a chance. So get the front brakes done, get some fluid in the thing, adjust the carburetor a little bit, and probably screw with the timing, get the water pump pieces there blocked off, and get it on the ground and moving under its own power for the first time in who knows how many years. I know it was last registered in 1976, so I don't know. Could it have been sitting for almost 40 years? I doubt it, but you never know. I still have the 76 South Dakota plate that came off it. So basically the next little bit's going to be get the last few things buttoned up and go through a bunch of shakedown on it and make sure that it works. Also get seats put back in it. That's kind of important too. But adjust the carburetor, fill the radiator, check for leaks, get the belt on the power steering, and we're sitting pretty good. We're just, you know, topping off fluids and hopefully we have brakes. So that's all looking good. I'm relatively happy with the progress that's happened so far. It's not quite as far as I wanted to be on this. I wanted this to be done and over by now, but you know, things happen. We ended up going to Montana to get that car in the back there, and we're going back to Montana for another car in a little over a week, potentially, you know, pending final details. But yeah, it's just one thing after another. We're trying to get things done and trying to make everything work as best as it can. And a quick reminder, this car was put together to go to Mopars in the Park in Farmington, Minnesota, the town I live in, May 30th through June 2nd, I believe is what the dates are. And that's going to be a huge show, and this will be for sale. I did not buy this car to keep it. I did not buy this car to, you know, hold on to it and drive it around a bunch. I built it as a project where somebody could buy it, somebody could fix this little thing here and there, and have a nice, fun driver out of it. And that's what I hope happens to it. You know, I'm going to be priced, you know, I'll just throw a ballpark out. It's going to be mid-teens. I've got a title. It all matches. It all works out. So mid-teens, if you're looking for a driver, that's the goal. So hopefully I see some of you guys there at Mopars in the Park. Hopefully some of you guys are getting a kick out of seeing me bring this thing back to life and having that thing run for the first time again in who knows how long. So hopefully within the next week I can get this thing pushed out and drag that 70 Coronet in. So that car, quick recap, again, same basic purpose. Bought it, gonna fix a few things, and gonna move it on. So we'll see what happens with that. Not sure yet what we're gonna do. I got a few things. There's a whole nother video on that. There'll be a couple videos on that car, so we'll see what happens. But I definitely appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully you guys stick around on here with me for a while. And also, let me know what you think about these wheels, because I got the 15 by 4.5s and the 15 by 8s. I think they look really good, but they're probably not going to stay. That is what's going on in the back there. Kind of a small tire, but it's what we had. Quick recap. 15 by 8 or 8.5, I don't remember. Keystone Classics that I painted the centers gold. I got center cap for it with a 255/60, and the fronts will be 15 by 7s with a 225/60 tire. So make a nice driver and it'll look pretty cool doing it. So that's the goal. Hopefully you guys are having fun with this as much as I am. And I appreciate all you guys watching. Definitely consider like, share, subscribe, all that stuff, and I will see you guys in the next video.